Hello, star people. My name is Christopher, the AstroMedium, and your host, intuitive astrologer for the cosmic forecast and energy update for the week of March 7th through the 13th. We're going to take a look at these astrological energies day by day, and then later in the video, we'll go into them more in depth so you know how to work with these energies and you know what to expect moving forward. Now, you're going to be moving forward this week in somewhat of a daze. We're going to feel like we're walking on a dream, okay? And although dreams are very enjoyable, they're very fantastical, we take a lot of enjoyment from them and they cause a lot of inspiration. They can also be confusing and make you feel ungrounded and you don't know what to make sense of, okay? So we're going to be coming back down from the sky, pulling a lot of information from up above, connecting to our higher self, but there's a disconnection at the soul level as well, and we'll go into depth there. So let's start with Sunday, March 7th. The moon will be in Capricorn. So the moon does not like being in Capricorn. So we're already starting off the week with a confusing energy from the moon, but the moon is going to make a trine to Uranus. So there's something that we're going to break free of that day. There's some excitement there. The moon is also going to make a sextile to Venus. And we want to keep a close eye on Venus this week as she's one of the stars of this week. Venus is going to receive a supportive sextile from the moon, and that's going to make us feel more connected, more creative. And the moon is also going to square Chiron. So before we get ahead of ourselves, there's going to be some triggers on Sunday coming up for us. We want to pay attention to some sensitivities, some insecurities, some feeling weak in the body coming up for us. And that is giving us a clue of what needs to heal, what other issues there are that are left for us, okay? Now, there's a very important energy shift that's happening on Sunday. Pallas, or also known as Pallas Athena, one of the asteroids named after the goddess of war. She is a very powerful energy. This asteroid is connected to wisdom, intuition, defensiveness, but from a feminine perspective, taking defense and protecting others with honor and with grace. This energy also has a lot to do with the arts. Pallas has been in the sign of Aquarius, and Pallas was part of that superstellium energy that happened around February 11th at the new moon in Aquarius. Pallas was very active at that time. Although she is not a planet, she is still a planetary body or an asteroid body that's in our solar system. So she has some kind of pull on our energy field. Now, Pallas is going to enter Pisces, and we need to pay close attention to Pisces as well, as this is the week of Pisces. We are going to experience a superstellium. It may not be as super as the Aquarius one, but it's super to me, but a superstellium in Pisces by the end of the week and going forward. There's a lot of Pisces energy. This is Neptune's week, and Venus is along for the party as well. And when you have Venus, Neptune, and Pisces all in the mix, there's enjoyment, there's connection, there's relaxing, there's escaping, but there's also confusion. There's too much pleasure, there's hedonistic tendencies, there's also escaping in negative ways like drugs, food, overeating, alcohol. So we want to be very careful this week going forward. We're going to be more susceptible to chemicals, more susceptible to substances. And this is all going to start this triggering. Now, Pallas entering Pisces, this is good. For of all the asteroids to enter Pisces, Pallas does very well in Pisces. Pallas, like I said, is about intuition, arts. There's creative energy with Pallas and defensiveness, and Pisces is all about rooting for the underdog. So there is a sense of owning ourselves and our intuition, trusting our intuition more. So Pallas is going to support all of this Pisces energy, and this is a really wonderful way to start off the week. Now let's move to Monday, the 8th. Moon will still be in Capricorn the whole day, but the moon is going to make a sextile to Neptune and the sun. So again, we got to pay close attention to Neptune. Neptune is the star of this week, along with Venus and the sign of Pisces, which Neptune rules. This supportive sextile from the moon to Neptune is going to connect us to our higher self. There's also a sextile to the sun. So there's this feeling, this higher self, and owning it, knowing that you have that connection and trusting your intuition even more. Now, the moon is also going to make a conjunction to Pluto. This is going to intensify the energies on Monday, bring us down into our bodies a little bit more. There's a transformative quality to the moon in conjuncting Pluto. So we want to pay close attention to our deep psychological fears that may arise. And there's a tendency with any Neptune energy even with a sextile, to have a more open heart, more generosity, but you may also be attracting some plutonic energy. So we may get taken advantage of in some way, or there's some scams that may go on. I've been experiencing a lot of this on my Instagram. So there's a lot of this Pisces energy that's at play right now, and Pisces and Neptune energy can make us more susceptible to believing things, to getting ourselves into trouble because we're not seeing things as they actually are. We're not as grounded, and we don't have our realistic glasses on. Saturn's not at play right now, okay? He's not as active in these energies. Now let's move to Tuesday, March 9th. The moon will enter Aquarius at 2:41 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the moon's going to be very busy that day, and this is a very busy day, and Venus steals the show, okay? Venus, like I said, she's not the exact same energy as, she's not the exact same energy as Neptune, but there's a lot of connection with Venus energy. She's very receptive, and so Neptune is as well. There's higher connections with Neptune, and Venus and Neptune coming together at the end of the week is going to be really, really enjoyable. It has its issues as well. Neptune definitely has a shadow side, but Venus stealing the show this day is only one of the energies at play because the moon is very active. So the moon is going to make a trine to Mars, a square to Uranus, a conjunction to Saturn. So there's passion, there's aggression there, and there's also feeling limited by something, needing to push harder and use your energy more. And Mars is now in Gemini, so our energy is more scattered. Our energy's traveling more. We are more restless at this time. And the moon making a conjunction to Saturn can be somewhat isolating or lonely feeling. So be mindful of that if those feelings creep up for you that day. Now, Venus is going to make a tense 90-degree angle square to the North Node. And this is really where it starts to get very interesting because the North Node is very active at this time. The North Node has received 3 trines from Mercury in the past month. So we've been thinking very positively about our connection, getting in alignment, fulfilling our purpose. But Jupiter is also making a trine to the North Node. So the North Node is receiving a lot of powerful support from Jupiter, which is expanding things, making things bigger, bringing us more opportunities. However, Neptune and the North Node have been making a square to each other since the beginning of the year. And Neptune, when he's in a hard angle, like an opposition, even a conjunction, but definitely a square and an opposition, it causes veils of illusion to be cast over things. You're not seeing things. It's like a fog that you're trying to make your way through. You're trying to wipe the glass clean, but you can't get the fog to go away. Neptune confuses because it's things that are very illusory. They're not real. They're not grounded. You can't put your fingers on them and things are not making sense. So this Neptune square the North Node conversation that's happening is making a lot of us feel at this time we are being drawn more to a spiritual purpose. We're being spiritually guided to our purpose at this time, but we're being sent down hallways and passageways that seem to be taking us the long way to get to point B. And this is confusing to us and making a lot of us feel very lost, lonely, depressed. There's a lot of low energy that can happen from there, or feeling unmotivated, feeling like I don't think I have what it takes. The sun has now made a square to the North Node this week. I think it'll be tomorrow. So March 5th, the sun is making an exact square to the North Node. So our ego's even getting upset by this. We're not feeling in alignment right now. We're not seeing ourselves as fulfilling this purpose, or we are also feeling like we don't have what it takes. And Venus is now going to join that party in making a square to the North Node. And we're going to go into more of that energy later in the video. Also that day, Venus is going to make a sextile, which is supportive. It's not as powerful as a trine, but it is still supportive to Black Moon Lilith. Ooh, stay tuned because we're going to go into more of that energy later. Now let's move to Wednesday, March 10th. The moon will be in Capricorn. Or the moon will be in Aquarius for the entire day, making a conjunction to Jupiter and Mercury. And I love that because Mercury and Jupiter just made their conjunction to each other today, March 4th. And that's the higher mind and the lower mind working together. It's expanding the processing mind and it's analyzing the meaningful mind, giving meaning to things, philosophizing things. Is that how you would say that? Anyway, the sun is also going to make a conjunction to Neptune on Wednesday, March 10th. And this is very notable. Remember Neptune, we got to keep our eye on him. The sun is going to join forces and their energies together, although it causes a lot of empathy and a lot of intuition and a lot of connection in certain ways. The ego is going to have a lot of stories being told to it, or we're going to be told a lot of stories from our ego. We're not going to be feeling as high voltage and as passionate as we normally do. This is a week that we're going to need to conserve our energy. We're going to need to bring the tone down, and we're going to need to be okay with relaxing, taking it easy, escaping in healthy ways, hopefully, but escaping regardless. Sometimes it's okay just to get out of the body a little bit. You can do that with meditation, but you can also do that in healthy ways. A fantasy novel, music, so many nature, so many wonderful ways to escape. Now let's move to Thursday, March 11th. The moon will enter Pisces, and this is very important. The moon will enter Pisces at 9:44 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and this is really when you're going to start to feel that new moon in Pisces energy build up, okay? And this new moon in Pisces energy is strong. It's very supported, and there's a lot of energy coming with it, okay? And through it as well, as it's very connecting, and it's opening portals for us. It's opening chakras for us. It's opening gateways to higher realms. This is when you're going to start to feel activated by this new moon energy as it starts to build in that conjunction with the sun. Now on Thursday, March 11th, the moon is going to make a square to Mars in Gemini, and that is tense. That's heated debates. That's a lot of aggression, restlessness. That can be argumentative energy, so we want to watch out for that. But the moon is also going to make a conjunction to the newly entered Palace. So we're going to be really creative that day. If we can channel that Mars energy. And it's very important to know when the moon's in Pisces making a square to Mars, there's not a lot of physical energy available. So that square to Mars might have us emotionally reacting in ways that are using up too much of your energy. You want to look the other way, close your mouth, walk away, and leave things to be dealt with at a different time. This is not the time to deal with things real heavily down here on the ground. You can definitely think about them, overthink them if you want to, but conserve your energy, and we need a lot of rest. Now, on Thursday, this is when you're really going to start to feel a lot more fatigue, a lot more hypersensitivity. The moon in Pisces already brings that energy with it, but then that new moon energy is really going to stimulate that super sensitive Pisces energy even more as the sun makes the conjunction to the moon. Now let's move to Friday, March 12th. So the moon will be in Pisces, and the moon will be making a sextile to Uranus, a sextile to Lilith. So we've got some support there to break free of something, come to new conclusions. There are things that you're going to need to want to take into your new moon ritual with you, and some new realizations of things are going to come forth. You're going to want to do something new that day. And with Lilith also in the mix, we're going to want to feel passionate about it. We're going to want to stand out, and we're not going to want to be afraid of things. Now the moon is going to make a square to the North Node, and this is going to activate a lot of that North Node energy. The moon is an activator. Please remember that. The moon will emotionally activate things within our subconscious, that larger energy signatures that are at play. So that moon square the North Node conversation is going to activate all of these North Node energies that are currently at work. The moon will also make a conjunction to Venus, and that's very important as Venus is one of the stars of this week. So Friday's going to feel almost like you're waiting in the audience for the show to start. There's a lot of energies that are pulling in, that are supporting you, that are bringing you to some new conclusions about things, that are bringing you to new awarenesses, giving you kind of an entryway into this new moon energy that's going to happen on Saturday. So let's move to Saturday, March 13th. So the new moon is going to happen early in the morning at 5:21 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you're really going to feel that on Friday and Saturday, and definitely on Friday evening, if you're able to sleep, or the little time you do have to sleep, your dreams are going to be so vivid, so imaginative, and you want to center your new moon ritual, which I will have on my Instagram. If you do not already have a ritual that you perform during full moons and new moons, I'll have a new moon in Pisces ritual on my Instagram for you to check out here soon. So I'm so excited about this new moon in Pisces. I love this energy. It comes with a lot of confusion, but it also comes with a lot of connection, and we really need that at this time. So right after the moon makes a conjunction to Venus on Friday, in the wee hours of Saturday morning, right in just a few hours before that exact conjunction between the sun and the moon will make a conjunction to Neptune. This is really sensitizing us. It's really making us more empathic, sensitizing our bodies, making us more reactive. Internally, it's not like Mars, it goes internal. You're more like a sponge. You're pulling energy in and you are processing it at a deeper level and a higher level as well. So the moon is going to make that conjunction to the sun, and that will activate something for us. It's going to activate this Neptune square the North Node conversation that's been happening. It's going to activate this Pisces energy that we're sitting in. Neptune rules Pisces, so he's in his ruling sign. So there's so much of this higher realm, higher consciousness that's trying to get in at this time. So there's a calling. You're being called to open up. You're being called to remove your ego. There's a lot of ego dissolution that's going to happen at this time. Get out of your body, remove the ego, get out of the way so you can download these new frequencies that are coming in. Now, the moon is going to enter Aries later in that day at 6:44 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So for most of the day, you'll still be sitting in that Pisces energy, and that new moon energy will trickle off into the following week. We are receiving a lot of loving support from Pluto, and he's not always so loving, but the moon is going to make a sextile to Pluto as well. And that's very important. And we're going to go into more of that energy later in the video. So let's talk about Pallas. Pallas doesn't get talked about a lot, and I don't talk about her a lot either. And this is one of those more subtle energies. The asteroids are a little bit more subtle. They're very helpful. They're kind of like the Centaur asteroids as well. They're not as much talked about, but again, if you are into it, or if you are more spiritual, you're definitely going to feel this Pallas energy. We're all spiritual beings, but some of us practice spirituality, and Pallas is a practicing of that spirituality when she's in Pisces. So this is giving us not only an opportunity to identify with our higher self, to feel the higher self, but Pallas is giving us an opportunity to really input more spiritual practices. I kind of like to liken her. Pallas is kind of a mixture between Venus, Mars, and Neptune all together. Okay, she's not as powerful as they are, but she's more subtle. But she gives us a little bit of she's a warrior like Mars, but she's defensive rather than offensive. She is loving. She is peaceful. There's an enjoyment that she takes in the arts that's very Venusian energy. She's like Venus that way, that goddess energy. And she's got a spiritual nature to her. So Pallas in Pisces is going to support you in practicing your spirituality at this time. And those born with Pallas in Pisces they have this world peace energy about them. It's nonviolent acts of protest. Resistance is nonviolent. Spiritual guidance of a very high nature when Pallas is in Pisces. So I love this energy, and this is really going to support you. And we're going to really need this at this time, because we've got to put a lot of these new energies that are coming in into some type of practice. Okay. Now, Venus is going to take some of that energy away very quickly. And Venus she's benefic. She wants nothing but the best for you. She wants you to enjoy things. So Venus having a hard conversation with the North Node is difficult. And what this might have you do is want to avoid the process altogether. There's this higher calling. So if Neptune was not already making a square to the North Node, this would not be as confusing, but this is going to activate that as well. And with Venus in the mix, this will affect your relationships, your money, but definitely your relationships. There's a tendency with Venus and the North Node in a hard angle like that to ignore your calling, to want to just enjoy life and not put in the work, or to follow the call or follow the thread that's pulling you to a higher purpose. There's a tendency to want to distract yourself from your purpose using your relationships, getting too involved with people who don't hold the frequency that you're moving to. And you want to be mindful of that at this time, because there has been a lot of shedding going on in the collective. There's shedding of old versions of us. There's shedding of trauma, ancestral trauma and wounds that we're shedding at this time. But there's a lot of relationships that are coming to the forefront to be healed or to be let go of. So Venus square the North Node may cause something to come to the surface within a relationship where you realize this person is not in alignment with where I'm going and what I'm planning to do with my life and where my higher purpose lies. These can be difficult conversations to have with yourself. And at this time, we're already confused. We're feeling like, well, I'm not sure. I don't want to be alone. I feel lonely even with this person. Well, what does that tell you? Okay. Now, Venus making a sextile to Lilith is going to empower you. There's a lot of sexual energy with Lilith. Lilith wants you to own that divine feminine, raw, savage, feminine, I already said feminine, witchy energy. That's the word I'm looking for. She's goddess energy. She's witchy energy. She's demonic energy. And I don't mean Satan. In the myth of Lilith, Lilith was the first wife of Adam, and she wasn't going to eat that apple. Okay, so she was cast out and turned into a she-demon, okay, because all of those old stories in the Old Testament, all of that's very patriarchal, old damning God, he's the man, and you got to do what your husband says and all that kind of bullshit. Well, Lilith, she wasn't about all that, okay? So she ended up being turned into a demon who seduced men and then bit their heads off. That sounds pretty good to me, okay? She's not too demonic after all. She sounds like a woman after my own heart. Anyway, Venus's sextile to Lilith is so passionate as well. So you may find that you're distracted through your relationships from following your path. But there's also a lot of sexual primal energy that can be enacted at that time and feeling very secure in your body. And there's healing of sexual abuse that comes with that as well, because Saturn is still making his sextile to Chiron right now. So there's a lot of work that you're trying to put into healing right now, but Venus sextile Lilith may give you an opportunity to accept and love one of those darker or more damaged or more abused parts of yourself, or parts of you that want to be abused or to abuse. We all have strange sexual desires at times, things that come up within our consciousness that might scare us or make us afraid of our own shadow. And that gives you a chance to integrate that, love it, and see the beauty in that. Now, seeing beauty is one of the themes this week, but beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And depending on what type of perspective you have, beauty looks very different. Everything looks very different in the dream world. Your room, your family, your work, they look different. Stages, sets, it's like a movie when we're in our dream time, and things are changing and ever evolving, and they have a different tone, and you have more control in certain ways when you're lucid dreaming. But a lot of our dreams make us feel out of control, like we're being taken along for the ride and we're just experiencing something that we don't know what to make sense of. And that may be what happens as the sun makes a conjunction to Neptune. So the sun is our ego, it's our consciousness, our life force, and Neptune is very veiled energy. It's very higher consciousness energy. It wants to transmute energy, and it's very boundaryless. It dissolves boundaries and it transcends the physical dimensions and moves you to a higher state of consciousness. And that is hard with a conjunction to the sun. So the sun, that fiery energy of the ego and the conscious mind and the awareness of self, infusing itself with that transcendent Neptune energy, can cause ego dissolution. I'm not going to say death, that would be more Sun conjunct Pluto, but dissolution, not feeling as vital either. Not feeling as secure even, but the sun making a conjunction to Neptune increases empathy. It increases sensitivity. So again, even on Wednesday, there's going to be a more sensitive nature to you. And it doesn't mean you're taking things the wrong way or that you're too emotional. What I mean by that is you're actually more sensitized, and you are able to perceive beyond the natural five senses. There's an extrasensory perception when Neptune comes to town. There's also an increase in intuition. And with the sun involved, see, when the moon conjuncts Neptune, it's that primal gut instincts, things coming from the subconscious, those feelings of intuition. Sun conjunct Neptune, this is a little bit higher consciousness, more higher awareness. This is increase in psychic abilities. Okay, and there's illusions that will happen. The ego often tells us stories. You're not good enough. No one wants to be with you. You keep attracting the same people because you deserve people like that. You don't deserve any better. All of these stories your ego's telling you. Now, tomorrow on March 5th, we're going to experience the sun making a square to the north node. So we're already going to feel activated on feeling more lost and not really sure where we're going next. And some of you feeling very directionless. Like you're just floating around in time and space waiting for something to happen to you. And this can cause that energy as well. But what I would recommend is as you start to not feel really clear about who you are, where you're going, and what you want to do next, this is a time for you to relax. This whole week is about taking time to rest, conserve your energy. A lot of us are putting so much energy out and we're borrowing from later. What I mean by that is you've got energy reserves and you have guides, you have angels, you have star family, you have your higher self, you have your soul, which is very high voltage energy, which is giving you a lot of support at all times. But the physical you, the ego, has to catch itself and witness itself and say, okay, I have to take a break and I don't have energy right now. I don't feel like doing that. I want to say no to that. So this is a time for you to enjoy, okay? You may not really like feeling alone at this time. Some of you are introverts. You crave your alone time, and right now it's unsettling, it's uncomfortable. You're sitting with a lot of emotions that you don't know what to do with and a lot of traumas that are surfacing that you don't know how to process. And we are experiencing a lot of ascension symptoms at this time. A lot of them are causing depression, anxiety. There's people hearing tones, ear ringing a lot, odd head pressure, throat tightness. The digestive issues are just out of control, odd aches and pains. It almost just makes you feel uneasy to be alone and you want to be around people to distract yourself, or you want to be doing something to distract yourself. This is a time to escape in healthy ways. Like I said before, fantasy novels, any kind of books really that are fiction, because you want to escape to another world, something that's not real. A lot more sleeping. Go ahead and smoke weed, do whatever you got to do. There's nothing wrong with having a glass of wine or three or smoking a few bowls. Do it. Do what you got to do to feel good in the moment. We're all doing the best we can do. But there are other ways you can escape. Poetry, art. Pallas has now entered Pisces, so the act of creating some type of art is very strong for us. Venus is active this week, so appreciating that art, enjoying the aesthetic pleasures of that art are highly active at this time. And then with this Neptune energy, who knows what kind of information you could channel through your poetry, through your lyrics, through your music. You can connect to your higher self through frequency in that way at this time. This week is very conducive for that. So also remember, once the sun makes that conjunction to Neptune and the next day after that, the moon enters Pisces, we are in full force. This new moon in Pisces event is in full swing. And what I love about this new moon in Pisces is it's not just the sun and the moon in a conjunction in the sign of Pisces. We've got Pallas, who's now entered Pisces, and Venus is conjunct Neptune. They're both in the sign of Pisces. So we're going to have Pallas, Moon, Sun, Neptune, and Venus all in the sign of Pisces. This is a stellium. May not be super to some of our astrology snobs out there that get real technical. But to me, it is a super stellium in Pisces. We have this super stellium in Aquarius, which was a lot more rare as Jupiter and Saturn were involved. But this one is giving us a chance to take all those new awarenesses that we had at that new moon in Aquarius, all of those seeds that were planted that came to fruition at the full moon in Virgo, a lot of new routines we put into place we're seeing results from. A lot of changes to our life are more efficient. We're seeing results from a lot of the work we've been putting into our healing, into our practices, and into our direction. There's a lot of feeling lost at this time. And sometimes if things are confusing down here on the ground, and if reality sucks, create your own reality. And you have to do that with your imagination. Now, that's where Neptune and Pisces energy comes in. And Venus wants you to enjoy this process. Now, Venus infusing her energy with Neptune is heart opening. This will open the heart. This will increase your generosity, your ability to empathize with your loved ones and with other things. You're going to feel things on such a deep level. You're not only going to feel the pain and suffering of others in such a deep way, you'll feel the joy and bliss of others in that way as well. That's a wonderful time to get connected with your loved ones, lying on the couch, lounging around, schmoozing a little bit. All right, lots of eating. Now, Venus conjunct Neptune can cause escapism. So Venus is how we take pleasure in things, how you enjoy things, how you value things. You're going to value that spiritual connection at that time, but you're going to value things maybe too much because you're not going to be thinking clearly. You're not going to be seeing it for what it actually is. And that enjoyment and that pleasure might take hold in overusing drugs, alcohol, and food to numb something because it's so heavy down here on the ground. Pisces wants to lift you up into the clouds, into the ethers, into the higher dimensions. And it's real heavy down here. So sometimes it's like, okay, I can do that during sleep, or I can do that with these substances, okay? Cakes, candies, weed, pills, whatever it is, whatever your vices are, they make it very activated at this new moon in Pisces. So you want to be very conscious of that. And I love that the moon is going to make a conjunction to Neptune on that same day. The moon is going to make a conjunction to Venus just hours before this new moon. So again, they're all there to support you at this new moon in Pisces event. And then the moon is going to make a 60-degree angle supportive sextile to Pluto, which is going to intensify this energy, which is going to pull you into more deep psychological realms. There's a desire for intimacy with the moon Pluto conversations. Deep, devoted intimacy. There's power and there's transformation there. There's something that is ready to be transformed and transmuted at this new moon in Pisces. You may not be seeing things as clearly, but you can relax, open your channels, enjoy being in your body or enjoy your experience. This is a time to get very clear about what you enjoy and how you want to feel. This is a very sensitive but very feeling deep new moon. There's going to be a lot of emotions that may surface for you at that time. Many will come up that might be too much to handle, and I would say do a ritual instead of just overeating. But again, you have free will. So this new moon in Pisces is calling you to connect with your higher self. You don't know where you're going right now. You don't see a light at the end of the tunnel. You see a light, but it seems so far down that you just don't even walk anymore. And that's okay. Venus is saying, kick back, relax, sit down where you are, have a donut, have a joint, enjoy yourself. We'll get there. And that's actually true. Time isn't linear. Everything happens for a reason. You're spiritual. You're watching me right now. You know this. Now's the time to remind yourself of that. You're going to be more connected to this higher version of you than you have been in a long time. And there's something that this higher self, this higher version of you wants to gift you with. And that's a lot more clarity. That's a lot more reassurance. You have a purpose, whether you see it or are fulfilling it at this time or not. And sometimes being off the path is the path. Do you understand? Sometimes going into a dream state and waking up, dreaming about something that made no sense, actually brought something from the subconscious mind to the conscious mind that will then reveal itself in some way in your life. So there are things that you are pulling out that are ready to go and ready to release. But with all new moons, this is a time to plant seeds. What do you want? What do you feel your purpose is? What do you want your purpose to be? This is also the time to connect with your team. What I mean by that is a lot of you, if not all of you watching, are light workers, starseeds, empaths, highly sensitive people, psychic intuitives like myself. I am a light worker and a very, very strong empath. So this is going to be a time where I may not feel very energetic. I may actually feel somewhat depressed. I might have some of that coming up for me. That doesn't mean that I'm going to remain depressed or that there's something wrong. Maybe I need to relax into it, allow it to leave my system. And maybe my body is calling for depression, and the higher self or the inner being is moving you to these more depressed states to get your ass to relax. Okay, because some of you will not stop until you are beaten down. And that's what this is trying to get you to do. Take a deep breath. Close that big old mouth. Turn the mind off. Is this a new moon to meditate? Yes, this is a meditative moon. You want a very strong meditation practice at this moon. You can even do an active meditation if it's gentle on the body. You don't want to exert too much. Again, there's only so much energy. And you don't want to use up all of your energy, because as you open up to these new cosmic energies that are ready to come in, these higher consciousnesses that are working their way into you through your cells and through your chakras, your body's going to be going through a lot. So sometimes it is best to just sit there in a state of bliss or enjoyment or contentment and trust, because that's also what this new moon is in Pisces is ready to give you, is a level of trust in self, but a level of trust in your team, your angels, your guides, your loved ones, your star family, the beings that are trying to connect with you, that are connected to you. What do you think that ringing is sometimes? You think it's just downloading frequencies? Yes, but sometimes you're being contacted in some way. A lot of you don't feel like you belong here. And this is a moon that is going to help you sharpen your antenna and pick up on these frequencies that you have been too bogged down and too stressed and too densified to listen to and able to receive. This is a very cosmic, extraterrestrial, multi-dimensional, extra-dimensional new moon. And it's time that we connect, because we are at a pivotal point in our ascension process. They want you to know. Okay, I'm going to get a little input here. Perfect timing. They want you to know. So much work has been done. I'm going to try to give it to you as it's being given to me. So much work has been done. You all are not near the end of this process. It will continue for many years in your lifetime. This is a good thing. Many of you are going to continue to ascend and shed more layers, but many of you right now are just now experiencing the very beginning of this whole process. Yes. Trust. Believe that there is a higher plan in some way, because your belief actually signals more energy to come in. Don't block it. This is a time where you can open that up consciously. It will happen regardless. The sun and the moon conjunct. This is infusion of the conscious and the subconscious mind. It's going to be available to us. So many, they're talking about past lives. They're talking about all types of different levels of existence, you having more access to it at that time. There's a lot of healing that's occurring right now, but sometimes it's okay to check out. Yes, it's okay to escape your own healing process. Sometimes you're putting so much work into healing and to getting better that it's actually blocking the receiving of the healing that has already been offered to you. Make your way. Say that again. Make your way inward. I understand. Make your way inward and trust That's a lot. Okay, make your way. What they're talking about is go inward. You don't have to do anything. They're saying, please don't consciously do anything in this process. You will be called to heal something if it's your calling. So many of you are trying to get rid of your negative ascension symptoms, and that's not how this works. We understand that when things come to the surface, you need clarity and you want results and you want to see. This is your ego they're talking about. So our ego is being beaten down at this time as well. A lot of you are going through things that are frightening because that's the only way to get the ego's attention. And so many of you are being pulled into experiences that, okay, they're talking about at one time, there are many diseases, mental illnesses, things like that, that a lot of us in the spiritual community are starting to experience in our physical body. It's very visceral. It's very real. Your doctors are telling you these things. The tests are coming back positive for certain things. This is your body's way of purging something. Get out of the way. Open up. Allow for the new possibilities of this new earth, these new dimensions that you are moving into. Allow the possibility of instant healing and instant manifestation to come into your consciousness. Start to accept this and become aware of all the different versions of you and how to nourish the different versions of you. Don't walk away from your pain. That is where the truth lies. And that is so funny that they said that. That's where the truth lies. What you're believing in right now is a construct. It's created by you. Your consciousness is creating it, and the ego is in the driver's seat. That's okay. The higher self is ready to take over. The soul is ready to infuse. I'm getting goosebumps. They're buzzing me right now. The soul is ready to come into the body. This is making me very emotional. I don't normally get all like this. Give me a minute. Just like right now, they wanted me to take a deeper breath because I'm pulling in so much of their energy, whoever they are, that I didn't have enough breath and enough ease in my body, enough liquidity. I don't even know if that's a damn word. Agility in the body, openness in my cells and in my joints to hold more of their energy. They're saying, move out of the driver's seat and let your higher self, which is you too. They don't want me to talk about the higher self like it's another being. It is you. I am it. I am the higher version of myself. The higher version of myself from this linear perspective is the future version of myself. And if you align with this self, you will be called to the future version of you, which already exists, which already holds the healing and already holds the frequency of that which you're desiring and already is ready to manifest all of the wonderful things that you have been imagining that has all been created in this astral realm. Everything already exists now. All you have to do, like a buffet, is walk up to it and choose what you want. You can choose what you want while letting go of what is not wanted. This can happen simultaneously. Enjoy life. Make peace with where you are. And love every aspect of this, because you will look back at this time and you will long for this moment, because it will be one of the most magical experiences that you will have. Even the darkness yields the power that you will have to explore the new earth. They want to keep talking. Okay, so sorry, but they're going to talk to me after this video in my dream time and in my alone time. And they're going to give me more messages. I don't normally try to connect in this way. They're going to give me more messages that I can share with you all in other ways and in other videos, I think, is what they're saying. This is enough for now. Begin from here and in this moment. This is already happening, they're saying. They are showing me this energy, this need to connect is happening now. This new moon in Pisces is a great way to channel that energy, as these energies will be more subtle, they're saying. They're showing me the energies are more subtle and more easily tuned. There's more tuning that can happen, and that will assist us, but we can do this at any time. It's our divine right. Yes. And this is a perfect time to own this connection and prepare for this new year that we're going into, and get ready for spring, because this new beginning is ready. And for those of you who are going through this ascension process and you all are experiencing the beginning stages, or you're just noticing that this is new for you, or that this is really scary, or you're in one of the more difficult phases, it will pass. If you were called to this work, if you were called to my page, if you were called to this video, you may want to consider that you're not insane, and that you're not making things up, and that you are not schizophrenic, and that you are ready to take this conscious evolutionary leap of faith and leap of consciousness. And you are chosen. Okay. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me for this cosmic forecast and energy update. I love you all. If you want to book a reading with me, you can go to my website at www.christopherwithawymedium.com. Again, that's Christopher with a Y, CHRYSTOPHER medium.com. I'm also the in-house intuitive astrologer. Okay. I'm also the in-house intuitive. I don't know what they're trying to say, but they're kind of getting in my way right now. I'm also the in-house intuitive astrologer for Eclipse over Roswell here in Atlanta, Georgia. If you are interested in astrology, which I assume you are if you're watching this video, if you want to take your astrological knowledge to the next level and you want to connect with star people like myself, please come join me. I teach astrology class every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can join us in store if you're in the Atlanta area, or on Zoom, and that link is Visit Eclipse, all one word, visiteclipse.as.me, visiteclipse.as.me/astro to pre-register. It's $10. And if you're really interested in astrology, we are gearing up to start 6-week courses soon. I also, on March 14th, the day after the new moon in Pisces, will be teaching, well, I guess teaching, but I will be facilitating my Empaths Anonymous meeting with Eclipse. It is a 12-step program for highly sensitive people, empaths, light workers, and starseeds, to own your abilities, to accept your sensitivities, and to move forward with ease and grace. All right, everybody, thank you so much again for joining me. I will see you all next week for another cosmic forecast and energy update. Have a good night.